Good day to you all. I'm Sinek from D.S.SENANAYAKE College Science Society, and today we are going to talk about how the chemistry and science as we all know it began. So, since the beginning, humans have always tried to understand how this universe of ours works. That's what makes us different from all the other species. That's what makes us the thing we are. We are the species that dominates the planet today. That's because for generations we have always tried to take one step ahead of our ancestors. For this process, first we need to understand the world we are dealing with. For that, hundreds of millions, thousands of years ago, humans have, even from thousands of years ago, humans have tried to categorize the forces of this world into basic categories in order to further understand it. So, one of the first and main instances of this appeared in ancient China. It's called bushing, which is the idea that the world of ours is made out of 5 major elements. They interact with each other to create the rest. So the word bu, it's made from the word bu and shing. The word bu means moving. The word shing means moving, and bu means fire, which is reference to 5 moving elements. Those are taken from the 5 major planets. Because in China, planets were referred to as moving stars. Those planets being Jupiter, Saturn, Mercury, Mars, and Venus. They have the idea that those planets provided the celestial forces that interact with Earth and created the other elements. So, what are these elements? They are pretty simple. These elements being, and there's also another definition for wuxing. Some people say that according to some sources, it is specified that wuxing also came from the word wu. So, according to some sources, it is also said that the word wuxing came from the word wood, which stands for the 5 virtues of human. That also creates a sort of philosophical connection between humans and these elements. So, we can already see how this subject affects both astrology and philosophy. And for this reason, they use it for many things, such as not only science, but also such as art, military strategies, and other things like even music. So, what are these elements? Well, they are pretty simple. What are these elements? Well, it's pretty simple. The main elements were wood, fire, earth, metal, and water. So here we can, and according to them, there are 2 cycles. One is called the mother-son cycle, which is the cycle of creation. It means one element creates another, and the final elements create the first element. So continuous sort of a cycle. And one of the examples for this is wood feeds fire, letting the fire grow, burn even brighter. And the fire creates earth in form of lava, and the earth contains metal, and the metal from the earth contains water as vapors. We use a metal for our in form of vapors. So there was also a destruction cycle, which is referred to as a fire. And there's also another important thing. The 5th element, the first element, as I said, was wood. But this is not the wood. This is not the wood we know. The one grown from trees. This is sort of like a vital essence that means a sort of energy that is contained within the trees that makes trees a living being like us. So, this is not the only time the 5th element question I said earlier about. Because there were many other cultures that use the idea of 5 elements. One of the most notable ones is alchemy, which is used in Eastern Europe and the Islamic regions of the world. Alchemy is the basic idea that you can take one element and transmute it into another. You take one object and do some sort of chemical process and turn it into another object. They use this idea mainly to create metal. turn metal into gold. Which some kings are very unhappy with for obvious reasons. Uh, so they use this. They try to use this idea to convert gold into metal. They also have a sort of fire element to it. Those elements being Alchemy's phospho-elements are water, earth, fire and air. They are similar to Wuxing's phospho-elements because both are physical in nature. But when you take a deeper look, the fifth element is in alchemy is also sort of mysterious. Like the vital lessons from Wuxing, the fifth element of alchemy is something called ether, a mysterious force that ties everything together. Even when we look at other cultures like the Japanese and Indian, they also have this sort of mystery with the fifth element. In Japanese, the fifth element is something called void, a form of emptiness that ties everything together. And in Indian culture, the fifth element is something called Akash. Even though most of these ideas don't have a clear scientific basis, I think they are somewhat similar to the modern idea of dark matter, a somewhat unexplained more force of gravity that ties everything together to create universes and planets. Like I said earlier, most of these ideas have been proven false by modern science. Because, like for example, alchemist's main idea was transmutation, which means turning one element into another. And from what we learned from the modern science, physically can turn one element into another or one atom into another, because that's just physically impossible. That's not how it works. And after Dimitri Mendel found the elemental chart, most of these ideas of elements fade away, and today we learn a much more scientific and theory-based idea. This is easy to prove and really less convoluted than these ideas. But as a matter of fact, it's always really interesting to learn about history of things we love, because we get to experience how humanity came up with these ideas, and these ideas also lead to what we call it. Because even after everything we said, even if all of these are false, they impacted our culture heavily, and bring the ancestors of ours tried their best to bring humanity to a new light. So, for the effort made the stepping stone for our modern science. And I hope you can learn something every day. So I hope you. It's always nice to learn how the things our ancestors came up with became a stepping stone for our modern science, and we need to be truly grateful to them. So I hope you learned something today. Thank you.